because indeed the world is changing quite fast and quite dramatically. That's something we have to face as a bank also. It's not, I would say, a coincidence that in our group, the BNP Paribas group, our motto is the bank for a changing world, and that's what we try to do, and that's why we try to connect with this changing world, and you're part of it. I will not dwell too much because time is short, I think, and perhaps we can catch up a little bit as a result of the delay, following the delay we've got for all kinds of traffic and other situations. But let me just, I would say, let me just handle a few topics on what the big challenges of banks in general are today. Because indeed, I'm the third speaker now. We got 2 speakers already doing some bank bashing. You're still welcome to stay here for the next few days, all week, no problem at all. I think this is part of the debate. And it's part of questions we are asking ourselves. What is our role? How is it going to, how do we look like in 5 years, 3 years, 2 years? Because you shouldn't think too much about what's happening in 10 years. I remember in 95, 96, in fact, was the start of the internet. That's only 20 years ago. I've still myself experienced the start of email. And the whole bank was reluctant to use email. Can you imagine in 1985, 86, something like that, until one of my predecessors on the executive committee said, now I'm going to send you only emails, I will not call you anymore, I will not send you memos, you know, we send each other memos at that time, can you imagine, written memos on paper. I will just send you emails, and if you don't read me emails, as from now on you will have a problem. And that, I can tell you, has accelerated dramatically the use of emails in this premises, by the way. So, what are our big challenges as bankers? Well, first of all, our customers want to be able to connect to the bank at any time, at their own choice. 24 hours, 7 on 7. So this is far from the traditional, I would say, bank branch, which is open when everybody is at work. In fact, between 9 and 12 and 2 and 4, so you can't go to a branch. Does it mean that the branch is over? No, I think people still want to have a human touch once in a while, and when the going gets tough, I think a face-to-face conversation is still something which we are, has our preference, I think, as human beings. But indeed, we have to establish very performant digital banking platforms where our customers can indeed get in touch with the bank anytime they like. And that means also performant customer relationship management systems, performant systems, CRM systems, because we have less opportunity to indeed talk to the customer, to hear what his needs are. So we should try to develop CRM systems which can, through the transactions the customers do with our bank, in fact, can we identify their preferences and really offer them the right banking services and products. The second point I would like to address as a challenge is that competition in our business, as in many other sectors, doesn't come only anymore from competitors in the traditional world, but from completely different players. Social media giants, Google Pay, Apple Pay, crowdfunding platforms, fintechs, etc. So we really have to open our minds to competition outside the, I would say, traditional banking and financial community. And that's then the third challenge we have. In contrast to these new players, banks are today more and more strictly regulated. And so there you see really a big difference. On one side you have new players who are active in the banking services sector, but on the other side do not have regulators or strong regulators as we have in the banking sector. So that's also a challenge, because regulation means more management time, more cost. And on the other side, we see, and that's then the fourth challenge in our business, we see what I would call a commoditization of banking products and services, meaning a credit as becoming a commodity. I mean, a standard consumer loan, a standard SME loan has become more and more a commodity, and when somebody says commodity, that means in fact lower price, good for the customers, good for the economy, for the efficiency in general, but indeed it puts constraint on our profitability in the banking and the financial sector. So we should find there new business models, new products, new services, giving more added value, and we should in a certain way reinvent ourselves. This doesn't mean that when you talk about a big acquisition of a big brewery somewhere in the world, which is going to cost $90 billion, that today I think the crowd is ready for that. Perhaps within a few years. I'm not, I would say, arrogant about it, but for the time being, I think when it's getting a little bit more structured, and this is of course an extreme example, I think we still have our role to play. And then, the fifth challenge is related a little bit to the changing world in general, I would say. When we assess risks on our customers, when we grant indeed credit, because granting credit is still, I would say, the first role of a bank, then in the past it was, I would say, relatively easy. I'm going to be prudent because indeed on credits you always take some losses as a bank also, but why do I say easy? Because in the past you had a company, your customer had a business model which was at least valid, I would say, for 10, 15, 20 years, producing machines or providing trading services to companies, etc. And I would say business models of our own customers evolved in a slow manner. And if they evolved, it was an evolution, not a revolution. Today, in, I would say, a month's time or 2 months' time or a year's time, a business model of a customer can be completely obsolete. And in terms of assessing the risk from a banker's perspective, indeed, it is getting much more difficult. On top of that, our customers most of the time don't have any major tangible assets. If you're financing real estate, you have a tangible asset. If you're financing a production company, there are factories, etc. So in the end, if things turn sour and the credit goes wrong, you still had some assets which you could eventually sell in order to recover part of your bad loan, so to speak. Now, it doesn't mean that that type of customer doesn't exist anymore. Certainly, it will still exist, and we will still produce some goods, I think, and not only intangible type of assets. But obviously, more and more of the economy, more parts of the economy are related to this, I would call, rather intangible type of products and services, which indeed, as a banker, leaves you with bigger losses if things turn sour. And then there is a last challenge. There are many more challenges, but I would like to stick to the 5 previous ones and the last one. That is our internal, I would say, internal change in the way we manage our human resources. It has been said already. We have a need. There is a need for different type of profiles in every bank, also in our bank. Meaning that instead of having indeed the 2 PhDs from the biggest universities in the world, has been illustrated by Epi, we also have a need on people working in a different manner and having a different mindset, being a more creative and more innovative, which of course is not always in line with the traditional profile of bankers. So for the time being, for instance, here in BNP Paribas Fortis, we are hiring about 50 new colleagues with a completely different profile who are what one may call digital natives or digital experts in order indeed to fasten our internal change process also. So let me perhaps say a few more words during a few minutes about the initiatives we are taking here at BNP Paribas Fortis in order to connect with the changing world and the new world. First of all, well, I'm proud to host here the Crowdsourcing Week, which is one of the initiatives, of course, to get us closer to what's happening. From a more, I would say, longer perspective, we have created in the 9 major cities of Belgium what we call innovation hubs. What is an innovation hub? It's a number of our relationship managers in each of those cities who are specializing them in new sectors, medtech, biotech, ITC, etc. Together supported also with experts from our credit analyst teams and who really are connecting with the new sectors, the new economy, and the way it's changing. I think it's a very interesting learning process for us, but also from, I would say, startup and scale-up companies who indeed sometimes have very good ideas, but have a little bit more difficulties in making a good business plan, which is financially feasible and commercially feasible. So I think we are connecting quite well to our 9 innovation hubs we've established now since a year, more or less. Another initiative we have taken is our partnership with MyMicroInvest, which is the first crowdfunding platform in Belgium, and which is, I think, a very professional organization, and which is also located in our co-station, and that's our 3rd important initiative we've taken. We have an incubator, which we call co-station, which is established just, I would say, 100 or 150 meters from here, in front of the cathedral, if you've seen it when coming to this venue. And where we have, which is in fact a 3,000 square meter incubator and accelerator to host and boost startups and scale-ups here in the heart of Brussels. So it's a very, I would say, powerful tool as well for the customers who are established there, but at the same time, for us, it really connects us to completely a different world. And if you would visit those premises, you would not think that you are in a bank. It is not a bank, by the way. It is a kind of joint venture where we have it. So then last but not least, we have an internal initiative which we call Home for Innovation, which is established here in Brussels. And we have our boss here, Olivier Peter, sitting in the room, who can certainly tell you much more about it. And what we are trying to do there is putting bankers together in what we call pop-up teams who are working for 4 months approximately on a project. And they have to deliver the proof of concept in 4 months, which is a tremendous acceleration compared to our usual way of working, you know, with project teams and then functional description of needs we have, and then it goes to the IT department, it comes back, etc. And before you know, you are 2 years or 3 years further. No, this is going fast with very motivated people. It's our own people, so contrary to co-station where we are teaming up with external people. This is an internal initiative, but it's also in a very, I would say, different environment, even physically from a facility point of view, and but it is there in the middle of the bank, not outside of the bank, and it shows to our people that indeed we want to be innovative, we want to connect with the changing world, and we want to work in a different way going forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will stick to that. Thank you for your attention. I wish you a very good continuation of this Crowdsourcing Week. Good discussions and I would say hope to see you back later on, and I hope to be able to pop in further in the week once in a while. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Can you stay? Yeah, sure.